What is up, IDP Army? It is your man Jordan Reigns at 50 Shades of Drunk, and we are back again. It is week 6 of the NFL fantasy football season. We are going to be breaking down our week 6 IDP rankings. We'll talk about other stuff too, take questions and answers from the audience. I'm also streaming this on TikTok, trying to get a little bit more traction going over there. So if you're watching on YouTube and you don't follow our TikTok, make sure you check that out. But yeah, we got a great show for you guys. You know, we're really getting into the heart and soul of the season. Some of you are fighting for that playoff spot. Some of you are trying to keep yourselves up there on top without getting a little too lazy. So let's stay sharp out there, IDP Army. We got a good show for you. As always, we do want to thank our Patreons. And I just want to say, our Patreons really do keep the lights on. You know what I'm saying? There's there's 40, 50, 60 of you, I think, right now. But every single one of you guys and gals who is, throwing a little money at us is helping us scale up. Just had a talk with the guys last night from Offensive Points about some of our dynasty content that we have coming, some of our best ball content that we have coming, some of the stuff we have planned for the Senior Bowl, for the Shrine Bowl. All of that stuff is possible because you guys and gals out there are willing to throw your money where your mouth is and appreciate the content that we are putting out on the podcast, on the channel. It's $2, as little as a quarter every weekday. You can join our Patreon, help keep the lights on around here, help us keep scaling up, help us keep getting the message out there. So we appreciate you Patreons, and all you new Patreons I know are going to come flooding in. We appreciate you all too. But let's go ahead and start talking about this upcoming week. So fantasy football really is getting crazy. We're having a lot of injuries, but it's not like guys are missing time. It's like they're scaring us that they're going to miss time. We have, Micah Parsons. People are getting a lot of groin injuries. The ankles are starting to get rolled. The wear and tear of the NFL season is starting to show up more regularly than it had in the past. The first couple of weeks, we're kind of understanding how the ebb and flow of this season is going to go. So as we've, been doing that, we've been adapting a lot of our rankings. We've been learning a lot about what these teams are and aren't. Even last night's game was crazy to watch. At any moment, either team could have taken over that game, but neither of them really did. It was just there's still, even though we do have a lot of information, there's a lot of stuff we have yet to learn in the fantasy football and in the NFL this season. So we're going to go ahead and just thanks. Yeah, appreciate everybody that's in here. If you have any questions, of course, always just leave those here. I guess we'll just go ahead and start talking about the IDP rankings. I have those over here. I'll pull those up. And as we go through, if you guys have questions, and I'm even going to make some adjustments probably today because I haven't made any adjustments since maybe yesterday, 2 days ago. So I have both my screens pulled up to do that. But let's go ahead and pull this up. Take a look here. If you all notice on the YouTube channel, we've done a little bit of increased production value. I want to spoil y'all. I want to spoil the IDP Army. You know what I'm saying? I mean, y'all deserve it. So here are my, if you can go to idparmy.com, you can check out all of our rankings. Let's just start with DL. So I bring up this page, and I'm also going to bring up this page. Because sometimes the rankings don't update. So I'll look at things and you guys and gals on the YouTube will be seeing something a little different. For whatever reason, they're not updating as quickly as they should, in my opinion. So I want to make sure that we're able to make moves and see if these are pretty close to. So first DL players we got here this week, we've got Nick Bosa, Cam Jordan, Trey Hendrickson. That's going to be a really interesting game between the Saints and the Who Dat and Who Dey, the Saints and the Bengals. I'm very interested. Got 2 DL players from that game, very high. Brian Burns, Gregory Rousseau, I have him at 5. I actually think he's probably going to end up coming down just a little bit by the time this is all said and done. Started off the season really, really hot, has been putting up some not great games. So the problem is he's a DL player. So what do we know about DL players? DL players are going to be hit or miss. Sometimes they'll have massive games. Sometimes they won't. For instance, I had Bradley Chubb on my bench last week in one of my main IDP leagues, one of my main IDP dynasties. I had DeForest Buckner also on my bench. Why? Because they hadn't done much for me lately. I got a rude awakening, a slap in the face. Like, the DL position, Sometimes you just got to rock with the talent. You know what I mean? Especially if the guy's healthy. DeForest Buckner's been healthy. Bradley Chubb's been healthy. I knew that, but I was just tired of being like, I paid for it last week. Same thing with Montez Sweat in one league, but I put him in. He had a great game last night. It was good to get that jolt. So I'm sure some of you all probably experienced that as well. Let's go ahead and look over here and see if these are pretty similar. Yeah, it looks like they're pretty much on point here. Greg Rousseau, Demarcus Lawrence at 6 on the site, Cameron Jordan at 7, Micah Parsons at 8, Sam Hubbard at 9. That looks like they're on par over here. So a couple of guys that are a little lower than maybe consensus. Myles Garrett. The reality is the New England quarterbacks don't get sacked a lot. So I can't give him too much equity this week. And he's been banged up. The reality is he was in that car wreck and he kind of has been not having great games. He's still a DL1 for me this week. Obviously, he's here in my top 12, but I am not as high as him as I once was. And honestly, looking at where I've got old Alex Highsmith down here, I think I'm going to have to move Alex Highsmith up a little bit. Because I know I would rather play him over Myles Garrett this week. So I'm just going to go ahead and make that move right now here with y'all. We've got some questions in here. Let's see what we got. And anybody that's watching on TikTok, throw us some likes, ask any fantasy football questions, offense, defense, special teams, like my man Sean McVay says. But Lunch Table Legend on YouTube says, "What's up, Army?" So someone dropped Shaquille Leonard, and I scooped him for $22 of my $100 fab. He's still an insanely elite linebacker 1 when he returns. Is that correct? Top 5 to 10 linebacker every week. Yes. I mean, you can say that confidently. He is a top 5 to 10 linebacker every week when he returns. And $22 to get a player like that off of fab, I think that was worth it. Now, the reality, though, is we don't know what kind of longevity Shaquille Leonard has at this point. I mean, it's hit or miss if he plays week to week. It's going to start being like that season to season. 27 years old. Mason and I actually just had a conversation about this. I think it was last week on the show, on the ranking show, because it is a real question for IDP managers. But for the rest of this season, Lunch Table Legend, I'm fine with it. I think that it's better to have a player like that on your team than have him on somebody else's team facing him. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like basic. How do you play fantasy football? So, okay. Lunch Table Legend. Another one says, also, what are your thoughts on Deion Jones? I feel like he can be awesome in the system, and they desperately need linebacker help. Deion has never had under 100 tackles in a season when he played 10 plus games. And I mean, your argument's right there. He's going to be good. They put him on that team for a reason. He's going to get the playing time. He shouldn't be on waivers. Am I running out there, falling over people and pushing over kids and old ladies to get Deion Jones on my team? No. But am I very happy to have him on my team? Yeah. And am I willing to play him this week? Probably as a safe, low-end linebacker too. I would feel pretty comfortable with him, assuming he's healthy, assuming all the reports and all that stuff comes out good. I've got a question here on the old ticker talker, so I'll answer that real fast. Says, what does he say here? So would you trade Dalvin, Madison, Gallup for Pittman, Waddle, and Hunt? It's a 3 wide receiver, no flex standard. So no flex spot, Dalvin, Madison, and Gallup for Pittman, Waddle, and Hunt. So you get 2 wide receivers back for giving up 2 running backs. I'm not a Pittman guy, honestly, but I would consider it in this situation because having an extra wide receiver in a league that's not allowing you to flex is going to be relevant, in your fantasy football season. So yeah, I think I would do that. And Kareem Hunt is running backs this year. Like, the best guys aren't even much better than the guys that are like at 5, 6, 7, 10, 15. I mean, it's not much different. So yeah, I'm fine putting Kareem Hunt on and in my lineups. And I think you would be in a good spot. And I don't even like Michael Pittman, and I'm giving a pro put Michael Pittman on your team take over here. So don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I got 2 mics right now. That's why I'm kind of like goofing off over here. This is not my normal setup, but you know what? Gotta get uncomfortable to grow, as they say, as the internet sages say. All right, got another question here on TikTok, and I'll jump back over to my YouTube questions, which are coming through as well. It says, Taysom Hill is a must start with his ceiling next to only Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce at tight end. It's a statement I would honestly agree with. I mean, yeah, he is. I mean, he's not a chump. He's an elite, efficient quarterback, backup, running back, tight end, whatever the fuck Taysom Hill is. He's a weapon. He's one of these guys that's a weapon. He's like Micah Parsons. There's a handful of players in the NFL that aren't positional players. They're weapons. Lamar Jackson is a weapon. Okay. Taysom Hill is a weapon. Micah Parsons is a weapon. TJ Watt is a weapon. These guys are so good at what they do. It's just they're not normal. You can't qualify them as normal players. Deebo Samuel is a weapon. Tyreek Hill is a weapon. These are guys that no matter where you are, if you're at your 1 yard line, their 1 yard line, or anywhere in between, the odds are that you're trying to find a way to get those guys massively involved. So I would agree with that. So that was a good question / comment coming on from TikTok. So let's slide back over to the old YouTube folks. What are y'all up to? What do y'all think about these? I guess. I don't know what I'm doing over here. So that's a kind of a. Let's go ahead and look a little bit deeper into my DL rankings here before I get to these next questions. I'll just slide down so you guys can kind of see on YouTube and ask me questions about it. Maybe that'd be an easier format. Y'all can take a peek over here and just kind of riff with me. All right, last question is Michael Walker playing week 6. Also, who do I play week 6, Miles Jack or Logan Wilson? Man, Logan Wilson is not what he was last year. As far as fantasy points, as far as tackles, as far as everything. So play Miles Jack. Miles Jack is, I'm not like a Miles Jack hater, but I'm definitely not a Miles Jack apologist. But I recognize that he's a player that I want in my lineups, and he's staying healthy. He's not doing anything special, but he's not doing anything wrong. And that's kind of a perfect spot to be in for a lot of linebackers, especially if you're at the end of the season. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have some stuff stacked up. So I don't know about Michael Walker, though. Oh, looks like somebody just commented on the actual YouTube video, not in the comments, which is interesting how they pulled that off. It says Michael Walker confirmed out this week. So there you go, Lunch Table Legend. Somebody's coming through for you out there. All right, Chris Ludlam on the old YouTube says, and I'll slide back over here. This next question on TikTok in just a second. But he says, with Bosa out, do you think Drake Jackson, edge for San Francisco, is a good play? No, I don't. I'm already committed to him. Drafted him in a couple of leagues. All right, well, it sounds like you do. I know you're not big on rookies, but he seems productive when on the field. Thanks for putting a bug in my ear about him, because I was kind of looking at kind of what I wanted to do with the backup, defensive line players with San Francisco with Bosa out. And I was kind of just like, I just don't want to think about it. I don't want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there really wasn't much that I saw that looked interesting. Now, I will say his name has come up in a couple of spots that I've, been, people put other bugs in my ear, but it's good to hear that from the people out here that are playing with him. I'm assuming you're a San Francisco fan because you're intimately involved with, knowing that he's kind of the next man up. So if you want to put him on your team, if he's going to be a good developmental player, I would, he could be a plug and play, like kind of a streamer type, but I'm not like dying to get him on my roster, my starting roster, if that makes sense. Question on TikTok says, Kupp, Dillon for JT, Godwin, and Pittman. No, just keep Kupp and Dillon. You don't want JT, you don't want Godwin, and you don't want Pittman. You don't want them. You think you do because there's 3 of them, and you're like, oh, wow, and you're calculating, and no, you don't want that shit. You want AJ Dillon. What you really want is Cooper Kupp. That's all you want. You already got it, my friend. Keep it. Don't give away free game. Speaking of which, this is probably a good time again to plug. You can join our Patreon for $0.25 a weekday. Okay, support the channel, give love back to us, help us scale up, get some more cool merch going out there, help us get to the Senior Bowl, help us get to the Shrine Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Let us help you win some fantasy football money. So we got a question here: Rashad Weaver or Nwosu in Dynasty? Okay, that's a good question, and I'm definitely going Rashad Weaver. Nwosu's been a guy who's like been around for a while. Not really, like he's come up and he's, as a name, and he goes away. And he comes up as a name and he goes away. So Rashad Weaver is the first time he's kind of come up, and he's on the come up. So I think that there's a little bit more upside to be gathered there. So let's take a quick look here again at my rankings for the DL. Just things, couple of players to note. Definitely Matt Judon has been coming up the ranks every week. Aaron Donald is going down a little bit for me weekly. I know that he had a big game this last week, but he's not he's not consistent. You know what I mean? That's the thing with even with some of these bigger names in IDP. Like it's okay to fade them out of your lineup. You're not saying they're a bad player. You're just kind of acknowledging that there are better plays for fantasy. One of those better plays, I think, Matt Judon, Khalil Mack, Neil Hunter, these players are all been coming up. Even Rashawn Gary, who got a lot of questions about him this offseason from people, didn't play a huge amount of snaps, so I was kind of hesitant to get in on him, but he's been really, really, really good this year. Let's see if we can pull up his raw stats real quick here. 14 total tackles so far this year in 5 games. He had 27 tackles last year in 16. So his floor is pacing up. 5 sacks through 5 weeks. That's kind of crazy. I mean, he's on pace to do some serious stuff this year. And wow, I mean, even I am kind of like just processing what I'm looking at here to a degree. I mean, look at this. In 2019, 13 total tackles. Last 2020, 19. Last year, 27. He's already got 14 this year, which means he's on pace for, but I mean, let's just do the math. He's on pace for, what is that, 45? 45 tackles? I mean, that would be 50% more on his previous season total. Or maybe they have this split up differently. Maybe this is like total tackle and this is assist. Okay, so we had 47 last year, so he's got 22 this year, it looks like. Still pacing for like 60. You know what I'm saying? So Rashawn Gary, I have him up in my rankings, as y'all can see over here. He's slowly been creeping up. Now that I'm even looking at it a little bit more, I'm very glad that, sometimes your peripheral, your parasympathetic nervous system is just doing stuff out there for you, and you don't even really realize it. All right, let's jump over to these linebackers because that's what everybody really loves. We're here for the linebackers. And again, if you all have any questions, hit me up. Oh, I got a question on the old ticker talker. Let's see what we see here. It says, would you trade ETN for Melvin Gordon or J.K. Dobbins? I'm not really a big J.K. Dobbins guy. I'm not a big Travis Etienne guy. I am a big Melvin Gordon guy, but I'm probably not going to do that just because Etienne still kind of has. I mean, the difference between Etienne and J.K. Dobbins is like almost nothing. And I feel like we have a little more unknown upside with ETN. Dobbins, even though he missed last year, this is his 3rd year in the league. We got 3 games this season. We had a whole rookie year, go look at his touches. I said something about this last night on the live. I think he only gets like 14, 15 touches in his big games. He only plays like 50, 55% of snaps in his big games. He only catches 4 passes. He only receives 4 targets in his big games. Now, it's not even his average. You know what I'm saying? Like his usual is like 1 target a game through his whole career. So ETN to me feels like the smarter one to keep. And that question came in from TikTok. All right, so let's talk about these linebackers real quick. I do see I have another question here on TikTok. I'll get to that in just a second because I don't want to neglect my folks over here on YouTube that have been riding with me for, 4 years. Just for some TikTok homies that be sliding through. But still love you. All right, so we got Roquan Smith at number 1. He actually played last night, had a pretty good game. Duh, because he's amazing. Had a sack, had like 11 tackles. I got Pete Werner way up here at number 2. His solo tackle numbers are just rock solid. Even though his snaps aren't 100%, he's kind of doing what Jordan Brooks did last year, who I have right below him, where it's just like it's not flashy, but it's like it's just starting to really add up his overall point value. Foyesade Olakun, Devin White, CJ Mosley, these are kind of chalky at this point in this year. Nick Bolton has found his way into the top 10 this week. Dude's just been a beast all season. He was one of our sleepers coming into the year. If you watch the sleeper series, he just had a lot. He's doing everything that we saw him do last year, but he's doing it on 100% of snaps now. That's what we love to see. All right, it's what we love to see as a Chiefs fan and as an IDP fan. So Devin Lloyd coming in pretty high. Bobby Wagner a little bit lower than you're used to seeing. Logan Wilson a little bit lower than you're used to seeing probably. Michael Walker, someone did just say he was confirmed out. So thankfully I'm here with you all. And Fantasy Pros doesn't have that updated yet. Just going to click this little X button right here and he's going to go away. And then we got Jordan Hicks coming in at 12. Micah Parsons at 13. Micah Parsons was questionable, still has the Q next to his name. I heard that he was at practice yesterday, though. or maybe it was already today. So I'm pretty confident that he's going to play. All right, I'm going to answer some questions on the YouTube now because I'm a little behind. Want to show some love. Okay, so you're asking, this is about the Drake Jackson question. No, I'm in a super deep league, 16 teams and 32 teams with rookie drafts as large as 7. All teams get a pick. So that was 7 rounds, 13 teams. Grabbed him at 5.4. Thanks. Yeah, that's a deep league. I mean, if you're playing 16-32, you would be relevant. I mean, Drake Jackson's very relevant in a league that size. So that was out of context for me to kind of not be more aware of that. Definitely somebody you're probably going to look to play. If I'm being honest, I only play in like 2 leagues that are like super duper deep IDP. It just gets really, really hairy. Offense or defense, doesn't matter when you start getting 16-32 teams out there. I mean, it just gets real weird. Shit gets real weird real fast. All right. After Jack Jones' last 2 weeks with the Pats, how you feeling on him? I'm gonna say the same thing I always say. I don't watch Patriots games. I don't subject myself to that kind of torture offensively or defensively. Now, I will say I did see the highlights. I saw he caught a couple interceptions. Billy throwing this question out here. He's the one who was on. Who was your guy last year that you were all over early in the season? I can't remember his name. He's on the Chargers now. J.C. Jackson. Billy was on J.C. Jackson weeks and weeks before the season started, so I will give him a little love here. So I know Billy, he's a closet Patriots fan, it sounds like. But I if you're into him and if you're out here poking me like that, I'm gonna take that as a bull sign. So I'm more into Jack Jones than I was before you said that. We'll get to the DB rankings and see where he's at, and maybe we could make an adjustment with the class here. All right, Chris coming in again. Yeah, glad I took your advice. I dumped Bush for Gary preseason. I need to start a collection of all the nice things people say because they're really nice. I'm happy that worked out for you. Gary, and even though I brought Gary up this year as somebody who maybe to look at, like I was hesitant. I mean, you guys know how I am. I'm always a little skeptical, but then when I'm in, I'm all in. Rashawn Gary, I mean, he's big shit popping right now. About the only, I mean, he and Devondre Campbell are like the guys. I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't even hardly that guy anymore. I mean, I hate to be like that, but it's just, he looks as old as Tom Brady is. All right, I said I would answer this question on TikTok. Said, would you rather have Olave or Walker in your second flex? Walker. Why am I drawing a blank on who that is? Is that Waller? Maybe. Let me know on old TikTok and I'll slide back to that one. Another one said I already have Chubb, Jacobs, Adams, Debo, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, that didn't really help me with the context much. Cup and Dylan and Godwin. I think I already answered that. Hit me up again. I'll try to do better with more context. I would love to answer that. All right, I'll slide down in the rankings real quick. I need to just get rid of this tab because I keep clicking it and it doesn't do anything. Okay, so let's take a look at my linebacker twos through the rest of this week. Got TJ Edwards. He's been coming up the ranks. Got Eric Kendricks, which when I was coming back from Detroit last week from my flight to Detroit to St. Louis, there was a guy on my plane 2 rows ahead of me, had an Eric Kendricks jersey on. I wanted to slap an IDP Army sticker in his hand, but I never got able to get up close enough to him to say what's up. But it was really cool to see that. And I'm sure all defensive players love seeing their jerseys out there. Miles Jack, like I said earlier in the question, he's coming up the ranks. He's, someone you want to play. Zaire Franklin, as long as old Shaquille Leonard's out. I mean, okay, Kenneth Walker over here in the question marks. I would definitely play Kenneth Walker. Definitely. Okay, coming back over here to YouTube. Zaire Franklin's been a beast this year. As long as Shaquille Leonard's out, just keep playing him in perpetuity as a top guy because that defense is on the field so much. Matt Ryan is so not good. He's basically like if Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan are like the same person, except one of them was actually good before and one of them's just like, I don't know, old. I know they've both been to Super Bowls. Don't even come at me, Eagles fans. I get it. Okay, Demario Davis, Levante David, Cole Holcomb comes in at 20, which he played last night. I don't even really know what he ended up finishing the stat line with. I need to double check that. Fred Warner at 21, Quad Alexander at 22. He's been coming up the rank. Need to double check on Quincy Williams, see if he's going to be playing this week. I don't think he is, but if he is, we'll have to slide Quan down just a little bit. Then we got Rashaan Evans, Bobby Okereke finishing us out here. So those are the linebacker twos for the week. If y'all have any questions in the comments, please let me know. I'm going to answer some of these questions over here in the YouTube comments now because I'm falling behind. And that's what we're here for. We're here to give the people what they want. Hand-to-hand combat, hand-to-hand help. I keep looking at my TikTok camera. I should be looking at y'all because you're my real people. These people are just algo people. Nah, you're people too. All right. Hi, great show. Top insight. Well, thank you. You're too kind. I have both Zach Allen and Watt. Who should I start? Don't start JJ Watt. The days of starting JJ Watt are over. Like, just don't do that. Zach Allen's playing basically as many snaps. He's getting a reasonable amount of points. He's kind of slowly. I mean, he's kind of one of those guys. He's been on our waiver wire show for the last few weeks. It hasn't been like a monster game because the Cardinals suck. He's kind of in that. But he keeps showing up. So I would be very interested in Zach Allen. Great content. Hey, another person giving us the love. We appreciate it. Thoughts on Rayshawn Jenkins rest of season? Worth it. I've been coming around on Rayshawn Jenkins more the last couple of years. And I have been in several leagues. It's going to depend on how deep your league is, though. Like if you're in a shorter league, where you start maybe 1 or 2 or 3, maybe max sort of defensive backs or maybe DB flexes, might want to lay off of him, maybe try to find a higher floor, more consistent kind of like one. But I mean, if you're in a deep league where you're starting, 2 or 3 plus a flex or 2, Rayshawn Jenkins is a player you definitely want to have hanging around on your team. Infinite Possibilities, who's been hitting me up on Facebook, the old Facebook group, which is the IDP group, which is dope. He says, which do you like better rest of season, Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson? That's not even a fair question because here's the thing with those two. They're probably going to score almost the exact same amount of points, and they're going to do it completely differently. I cannot wait till the end of the season to bring up their production profiles in the Ultimate IDP Index, which is available to people on our Black Ops tier Patreon, and show them how you can be an edge player of a certain type and still be super relevant for fantasy football. And you can be an edge player of a different type and be super relevant for IDP fantasy football. Different snap share percentages, different production profiles. And I literally cannot wait to have a full awesome year of this. I guess I could pull up their last year, but I think it's going to show up a little bit more this year because Sam Hubbard seems like he's gotten a little better at finishing some of his plays, which we've kind of been waiting for. But anyway, now to answer your question, Trey Hendrickson. And I only say that because I was doggedly on Trey Hendrickson when so many people doubted him, to where I just want to I don't want that to get lost. So many things get lost in the past, you know what I'm saying? Fantasy Receipts doing a good job dredging up the past. There's a lot of dog shit out there, but all the good stuff gets lost. People are like, oh, it's unbecoming to pat yourself on the back, blah, blah. You are your biggest advocate. Anybody watching this in any situation, you are your biggest advocate. If you aren't willing to go to bat for yourself, don't go out. Don't live your life thinking somebody else is going to do it for you. So I'll remind people, Trey Hendrickson is dope. I've been saying he's dope for a long ass time. So I'm going to stick with him. And I was a Sam Hubbard guy. The very first IDP fantasy football article I ever wrote, the first player I ever really put my name on was Sam Hubbard, which is kind of crazy to think about. And even then, people didn't like him because Sam Hubbard used to be too efficient at getting his tackles. That's why people hated Sam Hubbard. He's too efficient. He only played 600 snaps, but he got, 65 tackles. It's irreplaceable. It's undoable, againable. There's some verbiage for you. But he did it again and again and again. Same bullshit with Trey Hendrickson. Oh, I didn't play enough snaps. He won't get any sacks. Didn't have enough pressures. Ugh. Wrong. So, give me Trey Hendrickson. Ryan Green, how you feel about Cleveland linebacker core? Now they traded for Dion. Better. I think all people are feeling better about it. You know what I'm saying? They have a talented middle linebacker, something they've wanted for a while. They've tried to draft him, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. They tried to trade for him, Anthony Walker. Not that those are not good linebackers, but I guess they think that Deion Jones, for the price they had to pay, which was a late round pick, third, fourth, whatever, is worth at least that. So I like it. It's an upgrade. Take some of the weight off of these other guys. Chris says, LOL, I'm a Pats fan, and Bill's going to make Jack Jones, J.C. Jackson 2.0 and ship him off from the some team to pay him a huge bag of money. And underperform because Bills is a mastermind. Yeah. Patriots fans have to say things like Bill's a mastermind at the end of everything because there's not much else to say, Chris. Sorry. I'm sure I love you, brother. Bill's a genius. Ain't gonna last much longer. If he's such a mastermind, why the fuck did he draft Mac Jones? Come on. All right. Haram Bender says closet Pat's DB fan, I guess. So we got another micro niche out here. So far on our brand, we have Mace. He's the IDP. What is he? He's the IDP. Oh, missed tackles micro niche, and Billy's micro niche is Patriots defensive backs. So we're really driving in hard on the niche. We might actually start a show just about Patriots defensive backs. Would you all subscribe to that? Would you love that? I'm being an asshole. I'm sorry. I can't help it. Would you trade Carlos Dunlap and LaMarcus Joyner for Marcus Davenport, or is that too much? I wouldn't. Just keep Carlos Dunlap's going to give you. I mean, he doesn't have the kind of upside necessarily that Marcus Davenport presents theoretically, but I mean, just go look at their numbers compared to each other through Marcus Davenport's whole career. Even in these down years, Carlos Dunlap has been there for you at the very least, and he's scored some points for you. So, all right, I'm going to pull up my final defensive back rankings over here. I guess I'm going to stop streaming on TikTok because, nobody's watching anymore. There's a handful of people. I started to ignore them. Let me put this down. All right, TikTok people that were here, thanks for coming. It was real. And now it's over. All right. Bing bong. So that was the answer to that question. I would definitely just keep your guys. I wouldn't trade for Marcus Davenport. Do I trade Joe Mixon for Hall? Yes. That's a pretty easy yes for me. Joe Mixon is just what he is. I mean, he's a volume running back who isn't very efficient anymore. It doesn't seem like he's getting a little older. I mean, just get Hall on your team. There's unacknowledged and unseen upside there. I think we're on the downhill slope for Mixon. Michael Walker out this week is rough. Any sleeper DB recommendations or linebacker recommendations this week? Pete Werner is up there. Yeah, like I said, Pete Werner's been coming up the rankings a lot lately. A handful of guys have. I mean, you just got to keep adjusting. We can't just sit on our hands. And I said something the other day about adjusting my dynasty rankings, and somebody was like, oh, you can't. But look at these old dynasty rankings where you had this guy here. And I was like, yeah. And I changed that. Isn't that the whole point? Would you be happier if I had left him in this terrible spot for a longer period of time? I didn't understand that. He was trying to dunk on me. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? All right, let's talk about these top defensive backs here. We got Derwin James, we got Talanoa Hufanga getting a lot of love on Good Morning Football, getting a lot of love around the league. We got a budding superstar for IDP. We got a superstar across the NFL at the safety position. Jamal Adams. Woo! Keanu Neal. I mean, their time in the sun is faded. We have Derwin James and Talanoa Hufanga. Their time is coming, and it will hopefully last a while. Minka's still up there. L'Jarius Sneed, Antoine Winfield, Donovan Wilson up here pretty high. Actually, now I'm looking at this. I don't know why he is that high. He shouldn't be that high because Jerron Kearse is back. So I'm going to make an adjustment now. I will keep him as a playable asset, but I don't want him that high. I think I'd play him below Kyle Duggar. Anyway, sorry. We had Jalen Thompson pretty high here. Budda Baker, they've been, decent all season. Jalen Thompson getting some plays, had an interception last week. Harrison Smith, obviously top 10. Julian Love, he was on the IDP waiver wire thumbnail. He's been having a really good season. Now, I know they brought in Landon Collins, and some people seem worried about that, but everything I've read seems to indicate Landon Collins is going to be playing linebacker. So I think Julian Love's a safe guy to have in your lineups. Not even a safe guy, a recommended guy to have in your lineups this week. Jaquan Brisker, I had him in my top 10. Thankful for that. He's a beast. He had a sack last night. I didn't even see his final stat line. At this point, I'm just mad I don't have him in Dynasty because I don't have him anywhere, guys and gals, and it hurts. Okay, it hurts. But I know he's a beast. I had him ranked appropriately, and bing bong, there we go. Jesse Bates here versus New Orleans, probably a little high overall, but I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. I could see him getting a pick here. He's been really close to a couple of really big plays, and it seems like he's on the edge of kind of like a lot of positive regression, but just positive things seem to be very close to him. So I don't want to undervalue that. Now you will see that I have people are like, "Oh, you have Von Bell so low. What's your deal? Why do you hate Von Bell?" Me and myself and Mace just talked about this the other day. Von Bell, a lot of his points this year, not to take anything away from him, he has had 3 interceptions though through 5 games. In the 5 years of his career before this season started, he had 2 interceptions. So I don't want to overly correct for that. Now, granted, I've had certain points in time, I've had Von Bell all the way up in like my top 5 and 6 as a season-long guy. I still think he's a great player, but like I said, I don't want to overvalue him going into this week. Now, I say all of that. He's at 16. And I'm like, man, Von Bell revenge game, though. Who dat, who dey, though. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I will give him a little bump here. Just because that's, just for the fun. Just for the fun of it. I think Xavier McKinney's probably a little high here, if I'm being honest with myself. So I'll probably bring him down. So I know I can move him up there. I think I'll even put him above Brandon Jones this week. I think 13 feels appropriate-ish. What do y'all think here in the comments? Do you think that's a fair move? Just given all the circumstances, I'd be interested. Xavier McKinney, not been having the most amazing season that I wanted, but I still think that he has some good things coming his way. He's still a good player. So we'll kind of have to watch how that goes. It's kind of weird ranking Julian Love ahead of him, but Julian Love's been having a better season. So, got to adjust. Chuck Clark, love Chuck Clark. Richie Grant's up here. Cameron Curl, Mike Edwards. Tyrann Mathieu has not made any massive plays yet this season, but he's consistently one of those guys you want to have in your lineup, so I don't want to fade him too much. Trevon Diggs, Javon Holland. That kind of rounds out my top end guys. Got some defense cornerbacks down here, still in that playable range. Defensive back 3 flex area. Jalen Ramsey, Kenny Moore, Marlon Humphrey. Just Trevon Diggs. I'm not just a safety guy. You can play cornerbacks, I think, and still get plenty of points. And if you want to, get fancy with it, throw a couple of them in there, and maybe you'll catch a lot of upside. All right, got a couple more questions here coming in. It says, I have TJ Watt, Max Crosby in Dynasty. Picked up Max after TJ got hurt, and he's been killing it. Yeah, you picked up the top defensive line player on your waiver wires, my guy. That's dope. I guess you're only starting like one defensive line player, though. Would you trade one or keep both? Thinking of trading Watt since he's older and seems hurt all the time. Man, that really cuts deep. But if you're in just a one DL or one IDP league, yeah, I would be fine trading either of them, honestly. I will say Watt's going to give you a bigger advantage long term because his points per game, his points per snap. Max Crosby's having a great year. TJ Watt is still in a complete league of his own. And that's easy to forget when he's on your bench and on your IR spot. I understand that. Cade Smith says, should I trade Brandon Cooks, Deontay, and Olave for Devontae Adams? Yeah. I don't know how many spots guys you start in this league, what your situation is. But, if you can trade 3 guys who at any given week could just be on your bench for a guy who is never going to be on your bench, yeah, I think that's a fair enough trade. Now, granted, what's the deal with you this week? Devontae can't play for you this week, so that's, I don't know what that whole situation's like. And this is the thing about fantasy football, and here I go getting on my soapbox, but I feel like what I'm doing right now, talking through this stuff with y'all, is really, I see people tweeting out on Twitter and stuff like it's not important. Like, this is not helpful. In my opinion, this is the most helpful thing you can do is actually answer people's real questions. My dude, 420 Hustler, he's not the most liked or loved, neither am I, but he's really in the shit with people, answering their questions, giving them the best advice possible, curated and contextualized around them. You can get on Twitter and give yourself a clean place and a safe space to say whatever the fuck you want about whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. You have every right to do that. But to say that actually sitting down with people, answering their start sit questions, answering their trade questions, giving them actual advice, whether it works out or not, is not helpful, not useful. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? I just having feedback off of somebody who thinks about this all the time, that's invaluable, in my opinion. Even if I get it wrong. And you all know that too. You make your own decisions. I'm taking information that I see, that I have, and I'm filtering it, and I'm giving you my perspective and my best opinion. And you will take that as a smart, unique, thoughtful individual, and you'll add it to all your own thoughts, and you'll make a decision that's best for your team. And hopefully we'll all come out on top. IDP Army represent that league. Speaking of which, we were 5-0 in the bash. We barely made it out alive this last week. Barely. 3 points. God bless Josh Jacobs. God bless that man. God bless Josh Jacobs. All right. So Bruce Lee says, should I trade Mixon for Hall? Didn't I already answer this? You should. I would grab Hall for Mixon right now. Hit that button. There we go. See he's on it. He's on it. And do I trade Keenan Allen for Amari Cooper or nah? Yeah, probably. I mean, the thing about injuries, this early in the season that lasts this long is, they could come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, Amari Cooper's been fine. He's been more than fine. I would be totally down to do that trade, 100%. Lunch Table Legend says, start one of these for week 6. Damian Wilson, Dre Greenlaw, Harrison Smith, Isaiah Simmons, Cody Barton, Frankie Louvu back on the injury report. Can't trust. Start one? That's pretty easy. Harrison Smith for me. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, Nabil Jerome says Jalen Ramsey or Donovan Wilson start at DB. Well, let's see. What my rankings here would tell me. I think that I still have looking right at them. I know that. I'm sorry. Here we are. So here's Ramsey, 26, and I put Donovan Wilson. I just moved him down here. So reflected in my rankings, I think I feel safer about Ramsey. And I actually do like that because he gets PJ Walker this week. If Ramsey was ever going to get a cheap interception, it's going to be this week. You know what I'm saying? So, and my rankings reflect that kind of thought process, it looks like. All right, Allen, Cup toss up for me. Maybe Coop is a little younger. All right, answering that question for the homie. Appreciate all the feedback and all the love from everybody in the comments. JWiz2000 says, Lloyd, Z, Franklin, Mosley. Who should I stream this week? Got Louvu, but questionable. Prayers up for Frankie Louvu, the best linebacker in football. Definitely start Lloyd, my man. He's been on a freaking tear. Like, he's on a tear right now. Playing 100% of snaps. Get him out there. Don't look back. All right. Isaac Pekka says, I have Keenan. Do you think he'll play? Or should I pick up Josh Palmer in case Keenan doesn't play? I'll have a backup option. Yeah, I think you should always be prepared for Keenan Allen not to play at this point in his career. Now, would I just play Josh Palmer? I don't know if that would be the answer. I can tell you this. I bet Josh Palmer gets more points than Curtis Samuel got last night. Thanks for dropping that touchdown, buddy. Buddy boy. I'm not mad. Is Jonathan Allen trustworthy? Yeah, he is. He's having a good season. He's playing like a big dog. He got an interception last night. He's a defensive tackle. I think he batted down a couple of passes himself too. He's a beast. Get him. Jonathan Allen, get that man. All right, Cliff H coming back. He says, Buda Baker, Deshaun Elliott, rest of season. Elliott plays in the box and he's got crazy numbers. These are big facts. These are big facts. Buda has been pretty consistent, but Elliott's numbers are crazy. Big facts again. Man. Mace put this out the other day, and I gotta kind of go with it too. You can't just keep playing Kyle Pitts if you have better options. You can't just keep playing Buda Baker if you have better options. If Deshaun Elliott is available to you, I think you are on the right track that he needs to be higher ranked rest of the season. It's tough to say that stuff, guys. I know it. But I think that you're really onto something there. That's a really, really, really good question. But you're right. Deshaun Elliott has been having a crazy season. It's kind of nuts because he was one of my favorite sleepers. Was he on the sleeper list this year, guys? I don't remember. I know he's come up on the channel quite a bit, and I know because I've had him on quite a few teams. He was just so under the radar on what was that show they do? Hard Knocks. Like, I don't think I saw Deshaun Elliott ever on Hard Knocks. Did you? Dope. So to follow up with your response on Rashawn Jenkins' questions, we start 2 DB, 2 LB, 2 DL, 1 IDP flex in addition to offensive players. It is dynasty. Does this change anything? I keep Rashawn Jenkins around. I mean, you're onto something there. You want good IDP players. You want guys that, the good thing about players like that too is like he's good. Like, we know he's good enough to be around, but like he's not popular. He's not a big name. So he could have dynasty value at the defensive back position for like 5 or 6 years, kind of like Deshaun Elliott, just as a under the radar kind of guy who's just been in lineups for a while, and he's worth it. So yeah, I would keep him around for sure. Chris, love you too. Aw, because the Pats run the ball and play defense. LOL. We just need a game manager like Brady. Yeah, I mean everybody. Chris, my guy. Everybody needs a Brady. I'll drink to that, even if this coffee is lukewarm. Oh, God, that was terrible. All good. But what's Tomlin doing drafting Kenny Pickett? Just messing with you? I don't know. Here's the thing. He's never had to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like having a good quarterback is like a gift and a curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that Tomlin just, even with Trubisky, I feel like he just didn't know how to handle what he had because he's had something different for so long. Does that make sense? Like Trubisky, and I don't want to sound like a Mitch Trubisky apologist or anything. God. But he isn't as bad as he looked, I don't think. He could have run the ball a little bit more. They could have tried to actually utilize Mitch Trubisky, instead of like try to do what Big Ben did. He can't do what Big Ben did. He can't, even dinking and dunking is not a skill set that he has, really. You know what I'm saying? So Tomlin's struggling as a coach. I think he's learning a lot as a coach. We'll have to see. Touche, Mr. Patriots fan. No need to post that. I don't care. Go crazy, guy. We have fun here. We have fun here. All right, Jay Kamoa. Oh, I like the way that rolled off the tongue. Jay Kamoa says Jay Phillips, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Okay, or Alex Singleton. Start one. I don't want to start Alex Singleton. I don't want to start Phillips. Frankie Louvu is questionable, so I'm probably going to slide into the Bobby Okereke tree here as my top play. Let's take a look at the linebacker rankings. See if my words match my previous words and thoughts. All right, so where we got these guys? Here's Okereke, 24. Yeah, I don't see any of the guys you mentioned ranked ahead of him. Frankie Louvu's just below him. Where do I have Phillips? Down here. Maybe that's too low. Is it, though? I mean, if Deion Jones is coming in, speaking of which, where's Deion Jones on my list? Your man's got some work to do. Being a fantasy analyst is a never-ending story. Shout out to Kyle Brandt. Okay. Bobby Okereke. Final answer. Thoughts on Jonathan Ingram? This is coming in from Brendan on YouTube. Says, thoughts on Jonathan Ingram? I've seen Raiders have a new D coordinator, and he is weak in coverage, so his snap share could drop. I have Petrie and Hufanga. I mean, you're set up well. I don't think you should get rid of Jonathan Abram. He's keep him on your team if that's kind of what you're asking, because you don't know how long you have Hufanga and Petrie for. You don't know how long that defensive coordinator, even if he does choose to bring his snaps down, we don't know that for a fact yet. Oh, listen to this. You're sleeping on Von Bell this week. Didn't we just have a whole? Oh my gosh, guys, I'm like 25 minutes behind in the comments. Jeez, I'm so sorry. Gosh, dear Lord. You're sleeping on Von Bell this week. We talked through that. We talked through that. He came up a few spots. What are your thoughts on Deshaun Elliott and Paulson Adebo? I don't have any thoughts on Paulson Adebo. I'm gonna be real with you. I have not been paying attention to him. Deshaun Elliott has come up on the channel over the years. Definitely been a guy we like around here. Love seeing the success he's having, and I think I just said maybe at this point you could probably rank him above Budda Baker the rest of the season, just because of the kind of way he's been playing. Yeah, y'all called Brisker at that conference y'all were at. You streamed it live. I told y'all I drafted Scene. Y'all said you should have went Brisket. Well, we do what we can, and if you want to go out there and make poor decisions, that's your decision. And we still love you and we still accept you. And guess what? Somebody will trade you Brisker. Somebody out there right now is writing a sell Brisker high thread. He doesn't play the right snaps. Start retweeting that. Put that bug in your league mate's ears. Make some moves. That's the fun. This is the game, my friend. The game. Brisker is not, it's the thing. Don't look at Brisker as not on your team. He's not on your team yet. Okay? Don't look at, you let somebody else take him for a test drive. You said, I don't want to take the risk. And I know the risk is gone. A little hedge. Go get him. Finesse. Vaughn's been getting solo tackles also. Yep, that is a big thing. The solo tackle to assisted tackle ratio is something that can really screw you sometimes. And getting a lot of solos, especially if he's getting them, in a way that is coming through in the stat sheet, because sometimes they mess with that. That's what you want. So y'all keep me honest. Like I said, we brought him up a little. That's why I changed the name the name of this show as well. It's not just like the IDP ranking show. It's like rankings. I think I changed it to Q&A and like debate or start sit, because I want to hear what what the consensus of what other people are seeing and hearing and like where they're at. And it's keep me honest. I love feedback. I thrive on it. Alex Pierce or Devin Duvernay, now that Bateman is out, just play Duvernay. He's been so good this year. Yep. See, Chris. Man, Chris, you trying to get a job, my guy? You just busy bee up in here. He's right, though. Play Duvernay all the way. Duvernay all the way. Look at that. You had a perfect chance there. See, Chris? The guy who's going to get your job would have said Duvernay all the way. I'm just messing with you, man. Thanks. Hey, no problem, Jeff. Like the emoticon, dude. Cash Stylist, would y'all trade Ramonde and Lockett for Mixon and Waddle? That's a good question, Cash. Man, I'll be completely real with you. I don't have any Ramonde. Again, I'm not the Patriots guy. I'm like, I don't think about Patriots players, no matter how many points they put up. That's my bias. I acknowledge it. Ramondre and Lockett for Mixon and Waddle, though. I think Mixon and Waddle's where you're going to want to go. Tua will be back eventually. This is still Mike McDaniels-led offense. Mixon is still a massive volume running back, and he doesn't have anybody else breathing down his neck. Nobody's hurt that gets Mixon to be the guy. Like, Mixon's the guy. So I would still take Mixon and Waddle. So I think, yeah, that's it. I would make that trade for sure, Cash. Cash is stylist. Sorry. Who's the real Cash? People want to know. Ryan, non-fantasy question. I don't know how I'll answer that. But do you have your Chiefs winning this Sunday? Do you like the spread for Kansas City being underdogs? Whoever has the ball last will win this game. That's my final answer. I don't know. The Bills pass rush is 1,000 times better than the Chiefs. But that's not something new for the Chiefs to have a bad pass rush. Even the year everyone said it was good, it wasn't good. Their overall defensive unit is better now, I think. I don't know how that offensive line's been looking, though. It's looked a little rough for Mahomes out there at times. And if we're being real, he is missing Tyreek. Don't let him tell you he's not. They're missing. There's a reason Travis Kelce is like the only person he looks at in the red zone. Only person he really trusts. Like, oh, well, I know he threw one to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But Travis Kelce's the guy that he trusts on that team. So I think I think whoever has the ball last wins this game. I hope it's the Chiefs. I really, really, really do. But I would be okay with the Bills winning, because y'all know I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm a Steelers fan, I'm a Bills fan. AFC's tough for me, but I got 3 shots to have somebody in the Super Bowl. I don't hate that. Man, it's going to be a damn good game, though. Like, I'm excited about that. All right, question from Chris. He says, CJ Gardner-Johnson, should I keep him or send his production only picked up with Slay out? I'd probably keep him. I don't know who you're going to drop him for. There's always that question. Like, what's the option that you're going to replace him with on your team? And I wouldn't just drop him to have an empty bench spot. You know what I'm saying? So those things are kind of relevant. Or do you need to pick somebody up for a bye? He's not somebody I'm dying to keep on my team, but he's not somebody that I'm just like dropping haphazardly either, especially if his production has definitely stayed picking up. Eagles are a competitive team, so he's going to have a lot of people throwing the ball this year. Should I start Wentz Saturday night? Shaking my head. I had to start Wentz last night, shaking my head. Yeah. Godspeed, brother. Listen, you can win still. I won one of my bash leagues a week or two ago when Mitchell Trubisky put up like 1 point. One of my highest teams right now in Underdog, speaking of which, y'all should go play Underdog Fantasy with us. One of my highest teams in Underdog, my quarterbacks are Dak Prescott and Jameis Winston in the Best Ball Mania. Like, I have like missed quarterback play for multiple weeks, and I'm still doing very good. So you can make it. Just make sure, I would just be very thoughtful about who you play with the rest of your lineup this week and just try to maximize upside. Cliff, I appreciate the help, my man. You're providing detailed reasoning, helps think through this stuff. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I want to coach, you know what I mean? But ultimately, you guys, everyone makes their own decision with their own lineups. I can only give my best advice, So I appreciate that you all are finding value here. And like I said, I think that this is valuable. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't sit here for an hour just to hear myself talk. I wouldn't do all, like the production value. Go look at some more earlier videos. Wouldn't put this kind of work into it if, one, I didn't think it actually meant something, and two, I didn't think y'all really got something out of it. And it seemed like, and again, the feedback and the back and forth, it's always a positive thing. It's always good, and I appreciate that. I'm just pumped to see us keep getting bigger and grow, and just continue to bring more cool people in, get more people playing IDP, playing all fantasy football, and just having a good time, and just like building a really cool community, brand, group of people on the internet that, really about it. So appreciate you, Cliff. Good to have you here, my guy. Thank you for the kind words. Chris, you as well. And everybody's welcome. We'll razz on our Patriots fans. We'll razz on our Saints fans a little bit. We'll razz on our Eagles fans. But it's all respect and it's all love. You know what I mean? Like, we all love the same thing. We all love football, and there's a reason for that. Intrinsically, for all of us. I'm sure some of you it started with fantasy. For some of us, it didn't. But there's a reason that we feel so passionately and we're so interested and invested in this. And I'm not going to fight it. I'm here to ride the wave, baby. We appreciate you, Jordan. I love the Sunday live stream. Appreciate it, Travis. Travis has been kicking it with us for a long ass time. We love all our OGs around here. I need to find a way to give y'all like a tag or something to so people in the comments be knowing. Or just keep giving y'all your shout outs because y'all earned them. Start Thielen or Mike Williams? Definitely Mike Williams. I love Thielen, but again, he's just not the guy there. Mike Williams is the guy. Let's just stick with Big Mike. And he's not Big Mike. He's like little Big Mike. Because Mike Evans is Big Mike. Need a DB this next week. Delpit, Chuck Clark, Brandon Jones, all on waivers. Rolling the dice with Jones and his ups and downs, or the steady production from Delpit or your boy Chuck. Go with Brandon Jones. Last week it worked out really well. And again, he's one of those guys, he's kind of a weapon at safety. He's not just a safety. You know what I'm saying? Get him. I think that's the play. And I say all that. Let's take a look at the rankings. We got them up. Let's take a peek. DBs. And I think that will be reflected. I think I have them around 14, 15. 14 right there. There is Chucky right behind him. Not fading Chucky. Just saying he's behind him. And then who else was the other one? Delpit. I got Delpit a little bit lower as well. So stick with Brandon Jones. All right. So Cade Smith coming in again says, should I trade Mark Andrews for Hill and Zeke? No. No. No, 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 no. 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 Here's why. There are 6 other players in your league right now that will produce the same amount of points that Zeke does at his position. There's 10, 5 or 6 other players in your league right now that not only will produce what Tyreek Hill does, they might outproduce him. There's only one player in the entire NFL that could potentially, and we can give him the crown this week, but he still hasn't got it yet this year. He's fighting to get his title back as the number 1 tight end, and that's Mark Andrews. All right. I know Kelsey had 4 touchdowns last week. Everybody's hype. He's never done that before. He's only had 1 3-touchdown game before. Travis Kelsey is who he is because he consistently puts up higher than usual numbers. So does Mark Andrews. Just because he, don't. No. I hope that, just no. Love you, Cade. All right. Chris says, start Mike Will. Keenan probably won't play. Yup. It takes a village, y'all. All right. Aaron Kelly says, amazing stuff, my man. I'm a commissioner of another IDP league, and I'm going to talk you up in our chat. Best IDP content around, in my honest opinion. You know what? I'll take a drink of lukewarm coffee. Not even lukewarm anymore. I'll take a drink of cold coffee for that, for the culture. To us. Oh, so bad. So bad, so good. To be honest, I think Pitt won the draft, kept the fans happy, and didn't move up to grab a QB. And just like the Pats doing a rebuild. Fair. I really wish they would have rebuilt around Jameis Winston or Kirk Cousins, though. My opinion. What do I know? Or Deshaun Watson. I mean, fuck. Pittsburgh's already been through the. I'm going to put on my. One, I shouldn't be cussing. Sorry about that. I'm going to put on my cynical hat. I never took it off. But I mean, Pittsburgh makes perfect sense for somebody with the sort of shady allegations going on around them. You know what I mean? And we would have been just fine having him miss 16, 14, 10, whatever games he's missing. You know what I'm saying? I think he would have been a great fit for the Steelers too. But guess what? Steelers fucked around, and now he's on the Browns. I don't think we can, as a Steelers fan, like, everything's all hunky-dory right now. Not really, but it's like, oh, we knew the Bengals were good. No, we knew, the Ravens were good. Are the Browns about to be really fucking good? Because they have objectively one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, period. Before he got in all this trouble and wasn't playing, this is the guy who was up like 24-0 on the Chiefs in the postseason. Okay? On the fucking Houston Texans. He's good. Are the Browns about to be really fucking good? I don't know. We'll see. Start Dantzler or Hufanga? Come on, Travis. You know the answer to that. It's Huffa. Huffa. Hufanga. 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 Adebo is a decent floor play, but gets hurt. But gets tackles out of the slot. Would you consider Amon-Ra St. Brown tradable? I mean, every player is tradable for the right price. But for me, I like getting the iron price out of my guys. I mean, that's if you want somebody from my team, you pay in blood. Especially if it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the index for y'all because I want y'all to see how high I have Amon-Ra St. Brown in Dynasty right now. Because it's pretty high. I mean, it's not pretty high, it's very high. All right, where am I at? I'll go to the index first. I think he's a top 5 wide receiver for me now. Like, it's really like that. You have to adjust. Like I said, adjustments have been made. The question was, can he keep being good after the crazy run he went on? He came back and he was still good. You know what I'm saying? So I made adjustments. Not that he was too low. All right, wide receivers. There he is. 1, 2, 3. I got him as my dynasty wide receiver 4 right now, y'all. So, I mean, is he tradable? Yes, but he's worth a lot. Like, I don't know how I didn't adjust that. I mean, definitely a first, like multiple first, right? I just saw somebody trade. We had a question on the channel yesterday. Alvin Kamara. Somebody got multiple first-round picks in a dynasty trade from Alvin Kamara. Or no, it was actually I got it on YouTube or too many social media outlets, TikTok, and I did a video on. Oh my gosh, the trade question was on Twitter. I took a screenshot and I did a video on YouTube. But the guy got 2 first out of Alvin Kamara in a trade. Basically, I mean there was other stuff happening, but that was the gist of it. If you can do that, I mean, if people are paying that, you should definitely get multiple firsts for a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown. So is he tradable? Yes, but people need to pay what he's worth, not what they tell you he's worth. The person buying him is going to tell you he's worth a lot less than he's worth. You set the price, Nabil, and set it fucking high. They'll come sniffing around. They'll come back. They always do. Dynasty 1 QB. Okay, this is a really detailed question. So start 11 offenses. So we got, let's go straight to the IDP. 3 IDP flex. Okay, 28-man rosters. I think the IDP scoring is fairly friendly, quote, or air quotes, not air quotes, real quotes. How would you approach IDP rostership? Okay, this is a great question. 28-man rosters is a good size for a dynasty. 3 IDP flex is pretty good. I would honestly think you should get a little bit more, but I think in this particular setup, I want the best guys. Now you'll probably hear some people tell you they're wanting to stream and all that. I don't want to clutter my bench or my team with like IDP players on my bench. So what I want to do in this situation personally is I want to get as many and it's a flex. So I want to get as many top end linebackers as I can, if I'm honest. I would love to have 3 consensus top 15 linebackers, not in name, but in scoring and sort of usage. That's where I would go because that's going to give you the best floor. And if you get the right linebackers, that's going to give you a good ceiling. And if I was going to go for a combination linebacker as well, a defensive line / linebacker, I mean, obviously TJ Watt is your number 1 priority. Alex Highsmith is doing really well. He has a dual designation. Those kinds of guys would be interesting, but I still would try to focus on Jordan Brooks. I would still try to focus on Forsett Olakun. Dynasty, I would be maybe looking a little younger. Devin Lloyd, definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Devin White, who's in the dynasty community, his name's been kind of pissed on a little bit, for lack of a better word. Get him now. He's still a top 3 dynasty linebacker, in my opinion. Right behind Micah Parsons, right behind Roquan Smith. So I bet you'll be able to get him a little later than that, probably 5, 6, 7. Try. That's what I would do. FF Lefty. That was a good question, insightful question. Hope I gave you a good answer there. Tyreek Ellis. Good to see you, Jordan. All right. To Tyreek. Another sip of ice cold coffee for an OG. Don't say I never did nothing for y'all. I hope somebody's laughing at my pain out there. It's not pain. Slight discomfort. FF Leftist. Oh my gosh. More context now, right? I should have read all this earlier. Currently rostering Brooks, Campbell, Lloyd, Highsmith, Miles, Jack, Greenlaw, Luvu, Overkill. Thanks again, man. Okay, good. I kind of already touched on this. Maybe a little bit of overkill because again, you're only starting 3 defensive players, and I mean you start 11, right? Yeah. So I mean that's a third of your roster. Starting roster, you know what I mean, are right around that, or a quarter of it, right? Well, yeah, a quarter essentially. Let's just round up to 12. You don't want to, I wouldn't have that many guys probably. Oh my gosh, Tyreek, I'm so sorry. I did that. I'm goofing off. I didn't answer your question. Wow, I need to do some soul searching. No. No, I wouldn't be worried. I think, he's still, I mean, we know the tackles are low. We knew that coming in. We knew that would be hedged a bit by his quarterback hits. That's coming to fruition as well. We know he's not overly disruptive, not a lot of pass deflection and everything else, but he's going to keep getting his quarterback hits, and that means eventually he's going to be getting some more sacks, and he's already behind the line of scrimmage that deep. Tackles for loss, I hope, start to go up a little bit more. What my DL1 status, I still like him as that. I still like him as that. I think he could have a get right week too. So keep an eye out. All right. So back to FF Lefty. For more context, probably a little bit of overkill. I mean, I would probably be willing to cut Greenlaw, and I would definitely keep Brooks. I would definitely keep Lloyd. Here's the other thing, though, too, in a league like this. I mean, I would keep those guys. I'd probably keep Devondre Campbell and then keep Miles Jack. I would probably keep those other two. Greenlaw, I would probably be fine cutting him, honestly, if I'm being real with you. Luvu, just because his name's so hype right now, I'd probably wait till he gets healthy again. I would try to move him for something. Dynasty, I mean, if you can get like a fourth or something, because guys are going to be interested in, getting a top linebacker. I mean, especially if they're out there starting guys who are linebacker fours every week because they're being told they can stream these guys. If you can get a Frankie Luvu, you get a Frankie Luvu. And if you can get a fourth for that or even a fifth, anything, again, that's going to hold some value over time, even though Frankie Luvu's might be high now, there's going to come a day soon where it might not be anything. A fourth round pick's worth a fourth round pick worth a fourth round pick. You know what I mean? Like it's eventually it becomes something else, but the currency of a fourth round pick really only goes up until literally the second you make that pick. Frankie Luvu, we got some ups and downs coming. So I'd be fine, like I said, rostering 2 backup linebackers, probably enough. You have a good squad. I love Brooks. I love Leonard, or not Leonard. I love Lloyd. Love Highsmith. Love Campbell. It's great guys for you. Love Miles Jack. Love it. Love it. What is Najee Harris' value in Dynasty? Thinking about trading him regardless of QB, I don't think he's good, unfortunately. Okay, here's the thing. We knew Najee Harris wasn't good. Okay, we knew he was a volume running back who could catch passes. He's just Le'Veon Bell all over again. The problem was people said Le'Veon Bell was good. We were talked into believing that if you touched the ball 400 times, you were somehow good. Okay, if they threw the ball to you 70 times, you were good. No, that's just how the Steelers system works. Okay, and he's a good guy for that system. So is he good for that system? Yes. Banged up right now? Yes. Is the team good? No. There's not going to be hardly any goal line equity. We're seeing that. They can't keep drives alive, so there's not a lot of plays. We're seeing that. And he's banged up. We're seeing that. Thinking of trading him. Not the best time to trade him. Best time to trade for him, yes. But I think your league's already caught up, Cliff. I mean, I'm going to be real with you. I mean, are you getting trade offers? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I see there's a spammer in here. Tinder, X Hot, XYZ, best adult dating site. Ugh. No one cares. I think your league's probably caught up. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you getting offers? Are you fielding offers for Najee Harris right now, Cliff? Talk to me, Cliff. All right, daily help. Let's make this MF famous so he can quit his real life data job. Straight up. Share, like, subscribe. For as little as $0.25 a weekday, you can join the IDP army, and you should. I mean that. Famous, I don't know. I need to do something like virally incredible. Well, but I don't know what that is. I have some rants that are pretty good. Maybe if we did like a super cut of me just like going insane, that might get somewhere. I don't know. But I appreciate that. I really do. I really do appreciate all the support from everybody, comments, DMs, retweets, likes. I mean, literally, you guys are all over the place. The IDP army is everywhere. I was talking to Billy and Mace last night. It's building this brand early days was kind of tough, and I kind of did sell up. I was a bit of a caricature to a degree because I wanted to get eyes on IDP. I told him last night, I'm trying to kind of move away from that. But I don't know is that the right move? I tweeted something about that this morning. Should I kind of change my social media persona and to present myself in a more likable way, quote unquote, so that I get more followers and because I know how to game the fucking system. Like I know how to do all this. I mean, and people are like, oh, if you get 20,000 followers, you do it. I could do it. Okay. But it takes that being your motivation, your intent to do that. That's never been my motivation or intent to be huge. Do I think I will be huge eventually? Yes. I think it's going to be a long, slow, steady climb to the top. I think we're going to fucking make it. But you know, like I've never had mass exits of followers. I've never had massive influxes of followers. It's just been like people follow me because they know what's up here. That's in the NFT community. That's in the football community. That's in the fantasy football community. So, but I mean, if you got a fast pass to get me famous, holler at me. Now, listen, I did fuck up one thing. Billy told me I fucked up. I had an opportunity to get my Twitter account verified, and I chose not to do it because I'm a man of the people. Was that a mistake? Probably. I need y'all to keep me in check. I need y'all to be like, Jordan, get big so we can get big. All right, I'm a daily help. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Travis says Flex Thielen, Boyd, or Eno Benji. Oh man, I think Benji's your play. I never thought I would sit here and say play Eno Benjamin, but that is if Higgins is out, play Tyler Boyd. That's my caveat. I like Adam Thielen. We're never gonna get the Adam Thielen. Like Adam Thielen is now like what Randall Cobb is now. Like we can remember what he used to be, and like we can see flashes and sparks, and like he'll have games where he's fantasy relevant, but it's like it ain't like that anymore. So play Benjamin probably is your best bet. And if Higgins is missing again, which I'd almost play Boyd just because I don't know what's up with Higgins. Last week he murdered my lineups. Murdered them. All right, Cade says, should I trade CD for Deontay Johnson and Brandon Cooks? No, I would keep CD. And I mean, he's about to get Dak back. You know what I mean? Like, he's been good. He's been playable. Theoretically, he should have something better in store. Drew says, what up, what up? What up, Drew? I said, what up, what up? Again, shout out to Hustler. It's the second Hustler shout out today. We're Rebel Scum, baby. Travis Knott with I guess those are the crying face emojis. Loving it. Travis Knott, go with Boyd. Man, Ryan, I love how we're all like in sync. You know what I'm saying? We're all in sync. If Higgins hits. Otherwise, I would say Eno because Seattle D is that awful. Yes, I'm sure there are many men in Seattle right now like, hey, Seattle D isn't that bad. You get the joke. I think Derek Shepard would have something to say about that. And so would Meredith. Seattle D is not as bad as you think. It's got 19 seasons. We got 19 seasons of Seattle D on TV. All right. Is it 20 seasons? I don't know. How many seasons of Grey's Anatomy are going on right now? Y'all are like, okay, he's going off the rails. All right. And I'm just going to keep answering questions. I mean, I know this is a podcast show, whatever, but I mean, fuck, people are here. I don't have much to do today. I'm just going to answer all y'all's questions. Let's keep it rolling. This has been a good time. So if you do have St. Brown, try to get J-Mo also before he starts playing. Jamison Wilson or J-Mo, that's JMO. Who is that? That's Jameson, right? I forget his name. I don't watch college football. If we start playing, that combo will be unstoppable. And if one misses a game, the other one goes off. Yes. And the other thing is, as long as that defense is bad, they're going to have to keep throwing. And think about Jared Goff. He's not bad. I'm not saying he's good. I would put him like on the spectrum of quarterbacks. It's like in this being good and this being bad. Like I'd put him right in the center here on the spectrum. And the first guy towards bad, I would put Derek Carr. And the first guy I would put towards good would be Kirk Cousins. Like he's right here. Okay. And I think that we've kind of seen that with Jared Goff this year. Like he was terrible whenever Fisher was his coach. He was pretty dang good when Sean McVay was his coach. He's still not bad with Dan Campbell. You know what I mean? Like that says something to me about Jared Goff intrinsically. And that's coming from somebody that just dogged the fuck out of Jared Goff for years. But again, that's one thing I think that gives me a slight edge on some people and just in general is like I don't marry my takes. I heard when I was 16 from a guy once, he said something very wise. He's like, have things in your life that you hold lightly and have things that you hold tightly. Fantasy football takes, most of them are not meant to be held tightly. All right, Ryan. Yep. Good play. Agreed. Seems like we're good there. All right. We got A says Fournette, DK Metcalf, Lockett, CEH, Keenan Allen, Hopkins, DeMonte, and Deontay. Full PPR, which side wins? Okay, so this is a trade question. Says Green, thank you. All right, this is a good trade question. So we got an A side and a B side here. B side is wide receiver heavy. Keenan, Hopkins, Deontay. And then the other side, we have two wide receivers with DK and Lockett, both on the same team. And then we have Fournette and CEH. So I would question a couple of things about this trade. One, why is this person trading you DK and Lockett? I would just, without any context of seasonal, go see when Seattle's bye week is. I'm curious now. Are they trying to get out of under something that's coming up for them? Maybe you're the one doing that side of the trade. I don't know. Fournette, CEH, I like a lot. I like buying CEH in perpetuity because he's on the Chiefs. He's like Devin Singletary. It's like he's going to get his eventually. He was this close to 2 touchdowns this last week. Didn't happen for him, whatever. So I like that side. I think I'll say that pretty confidently, even with the DK and Lockett thing, because your running backs are more fragile. So I'd rather have 2 of those. You're getting 2 of those for 1. David Montgomery, his role and situation and his whole life is fragile. I mean, that he's living on a knife's edge every snap. I mean, you saw him. They're like, oh, we love David Montgomery till it's 4th and 1. And then we love Khalil Herbert. I don't know. I don't want none of that. Now, granted, you'll have that same bullshit with CEH. They love Jerick McKinnon all of a sudden on the first 2 downs or whatever. But again, you get 2 for the price of 1. I'm going side A. All right. Cliff coming through. He says, what's Jameson Williams' value in Dynasty when he comes back? Thinking of trading him and Najee for Watson and DK. Oh, I think that would be a good move, honestly. Had Lance, but he's on IR. I think it sucks for the Lance situation because, what's going to happen is you're going to hold him, and then when he comes back here, I want to keep him, and you're going to play him, and because you've had him for so long. I think the wise decision is to get rid of Lance in general for everybody watching this. If you have him, you don't want those problems. And if he comes back, great, get him back on your team. Okay, you can get him later. I also have 4 firsts next year. Maybe I draft a QB. I don't know. I don't know, because the last time I traded a rookie wide receiver before I knew anything about him, his name was Justin Jefferson. I drafted him in the 2nd round of Dynasty, and I traded him like 2 weeks before the season started for Myles Garrett. And I have to live with that every day of my life. And it sucks. So you might want to just wait and see what we got with old J-Mo. All right. So Chris says, yep, my 16-team IDP league, I drafted TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, Owusu Koromoa, Bobby Okereke, Kaiser White, Diablo, who's been a beautiful thing to watch this year. Watch Diablo come out. Cool name, cool team, good player. Marcus Williams, Jeremy Chin, Edmonds, and Pitts, and got lucky picking up Hufanga. Man, that's a dope defensive lineup. But my offense is still not very good. All rookies like Olave, J-Mo, Burke, Thornton, and Lance. Man, that's tough. Well, let's fix your offense. Let's fix it. What can we do to make your offense better? What's the DL rankings look like, bro? I'm sorry. I can change those for the people that haven't been here in a while. That's my bad. We were looking at them earlier. I've just kind of kept them up. But you can also check out the site, idparmy.com. My rankings are up. Mace's rankings are up. But here's kind of what the DL rankings are looking like going into the week as I kind of have them. There you go, Sam. Appreciate you keeping me honest. Would you trade above what I was offered? But yeah, that trade above is what I was offered. But yeah, surprised anyone wants him. But no, they do. So wanting Najee. And that's the thing, though. I want Najee. Like, if I was going to go, I was thinking about sending trades out for Najee because even if the doubt is there, and the doubt is a discount, you know what I mean? Like Najee before the season, I mean, people would laugh at you for even sending trades for him. Now, you have to be thoughtful, you know what I mean? Because you see the upside and the downside. Whereas that person didn't have that, the person who has Najee on their team right now probably didn't have that advantage, of knowing that there was a downside. Use that to your advantage. Don't overpay. But also, if you get a chance to get DK and Watson, seems like a no-brainer. I would just be you. Authenticity matters, and that's the thing. I keep telling myself that, and Gary Vee says it, and everyone says it. Well, everyone that's done any real shit. Time, give, 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 give. Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. Andy Frisella is a guy who, he's not perfect. No one's perfect. Gary Vee's not perfect, but people say truth, and truth is truth. If people are saying things that are meaningful and matter and long-term value, take that. And authenticity is something that, yeah, in the short term, it has cost me a lot. Like literally, it's cost me money. It's cost me relationships. It's cost me like chances to advance places. But I have an advantage over so many people. Whereas I don't have any secrets. There's nothing to hide. You know what I'm saying? Like I am the same person on this channel as I am in my DMs, as I am on my Facebook, as I am in real life. And there's something so liberating about that. You don't feel, oh, this Tinder person's back in here. You don't feel imposter syndrome when you're yourself. You can't be an imposter when you're yourself. You don't feel so much insecurity when you're yourself because you're not trying to make anything appear as though it's not what it is or not there. So I hope you're right, Chris. Long term, I hope it pays off in a big way, um, in the relationships that I do have, in the places that I am able to move freely, and I'm glad everybody that again, it's a good feeling too. Like even though my following is not massive, it's like but it's growing, and every person that subscribes to the channel, follows me on any platform, it's nice to know that they're there because I've represented myself as myself. It's a good feeling. So I appreciate that. I'm glad that, you guys it's been a good therapeutic session for me. I guess getting a lot of affirmation and from my peoples out here. Love you guys. What are your thoughts on Caden Stearns with Simmons coming back? Yeah, he's a dynasty guy you want to hold on to. He's been okay. But Justin Simmons is still that guy. I will say Kareem Jackson, I think he's what, 30? I think he's 30s, in his 30s, right? 32, 33. Let's see here. So I would definitely, I think there's a spot for him, long term on this team. Where do I even have Kareem Jackson? There's Cameron Curl, JJ. There's Stearns down here, 37. I don't even look like I have Jackson in here. That's something we need to, guys need to be adding my fantasy pros as well, because the way that the rankings default for IDP every week is they just drop 50 in there. So I got to go back in here and I got to add, look at these motherfuckers. They aren't even in here. I got to add all these guys in. So these rankings, again, they're not perfect. I started the show by saying that they're going to get updated again after this because they need people added to them. But Kareem Jackson, that's what we're here for. Let's take a look. Age 34. Caden Stearns is going to be fantasy relevant on this team for a while. He's a young gun, and he's kind of proven that he can, play safety in the NFL right now. Let's see how young he is. He's very young, right? 22. Yeah. I like that. Ooh, this is fun. I got projections for him on here. That's interesting. Let's take a look at his stats real quick. Also, if anybody knows anything about Google AdSense, hit me up in the DMs because I don't know what I'm doing and I would like to know what I'm doing. All right, 2022, 13, 7 assists, so 20 total tackles in 5 games, 4 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. Those are good numbers for a guy who's only in his second year coming in off the bench. Tackles aren't elite, but again, if you're getting 4 pass deflections in Fantasy Pro scoring system, those are like worth as much as a half assist, which makes no sense. Or I think maybe as much as tackle, but an IDP 1, 2, 3, they're 3-point play, an impact play. Get your hands on the ball as turnover opportunity. So 4 of those, that's good, and that's kind of what Justin Simmons does. He's a ball hawk kind of safety. So pull my DL rankings back up for my guy. Get back to our questions. Man, it's an hour and 30 minutes in. I'll go 15 more minutes, I guess, overall, just because I do have to upload this to the podcast peeps, and they're probably going to be like, dude, what the hell is your problem? What's up, Jordan? Looks like Justin Simmons will be back soon. Yep, there we go. We're definitely gonna keep an eye on that. Ooh, getting a little hungry. What do you think about holding on to some rookie linebackers this year? I'm in a rebuild and picked up Terrell Bernard, Brian Asamoah, Leo Chanel, and Chad Muma. I like those guys. If you're especially if you're in a rebuild, I'm hoping you have a couple of taxi spots available to you. I would probably prioritize Muma and Osamoah. And then that's who I would prioritize of that group. But I like that strategy, and it's smart to be thinking ahead. FF Lefty says, same 3 IDP flex. My team is top 3. I have a ton of 23-3 capital. What is Parsons worth in picks? I'm in the position to overpay, I think. Any more tier up targets? Let's take a look. I'll pull up the ultimate IDP index, which again, I told some of y'all are in. You get if you're in our Patreon, the Black Ops tier. Let's see what we got Micah Parsons valued at right now. Tier 1. He's a buy. Estimated draft pick value of first plus. So that's kind of where I'm at with Micah Parsons. If you can, get what you think a first is worth in your league plus a little extra, I think that's kind of where his value is right now. Whether that's offensive or defensive, I'm not sure for you, depending on what, or even if that's just more picks. But that's kind of the value range I like to use. All right. Space Monkey Mafia. Do you think Tibb will lose his DL designation soon? Giants see me liking him about. I don't think he will on Sleeper. They usually don't do those They don't do those switches in season. They told me before, so it won't happen in this season. Jordan BU man, I like the way you think. You're entertaining, but not over the top like other channels. Just chill, good perspectives. Appreciate that. You want success organically and not overproduced and fake. Preach. I agree. That's what I want. I would, like I said, it's sometimes it gets tough. We're in year 4 and I would like to be a certain spot, but I know where we're going, and the journey's the journey. It's an adventure. And I'm glad to be doing it with y'all. All right. Says, what up? I have a stacked IDP team. I moved off Shaq Leonard as a Colts fan for Josh Allen. Not bad. Tell me I didn't fuck up. Still have Roquan. Yeah, you didn't fuck up. I still have Roquan and Devin White, he says. Jeez. No, you didn't fuck up. You did the right thing. When you stay you, we'll follow you for you and not what you produce. I appreciate that. I guarantee your fan base will be more than loyal and consistent. Way more loyal and consistent. And that's I've experienced that to a degree. Like I said, sometimes it just gets tough you do look around sometimes, and I try not to do that, but I try to be authentic, open, honest, dare I say vulnerable with y'all. I don't know. I have Swift, Eckler, C-Mac, and Pierce. Would you trade one of them for a QB? I have Wentz, Goff, and Garoppolo. Shaking my head. I mean, if it's super flex, I would definitely be interested. If you could, but if you have Wentz and Goff right now and Garoppolo, I think you can be okay with that, especially with those running backs. All right, y'all. We're getting close to the end here. Oh wow, we got a super chat. Appreciate that. Traded Fournette for Dalvin Cook. Good deal. Half PPR. I don't know. I like Fournette a lot, but I think it's thoughtful because I have been seeing a lot more Rashad White than we saw with the other kind of backups that were there. Dalvin Cook, it's kind of a buy low opportunity. The touchdowns have not been coming his way. So I think it's a smart move. I don't know how it's going to pan out for you, but I think it was a good deal. Overall, I think that was a really good deal just for a straight across trade. Appreciate the super chat. Super chat work button is it's a powerful thing. All right, got to run. Thanks in all the chat. I don't get to catch you live much, but one of the great things, as long as you're answering questions from the chat, not only are we getting the answers we want, but maybe things are talked about that we're not. Exactly. And that's the thing too. I'm able to hear, my context is only what I can see and do myself in my leagues. When you bring in your leagues, your players, your picks, your sleepers, your teams, your individual knowledge, I add that to mine, and it's a good relationship we have. Ken Vasquez says, with Michael Walker out, torn between dropping Hicks and picking up Rashaan Evans. 1 point per tackle, half a point for assist, 2-point TFLs, 3-point sacks, 2-point forced fumbles, and 3-point fumble recoveries. Stick with Hicks. Rashaan Evans is not an overly disruptive guy. He's not going to probably get you any of those auxiliary, plays. Hicks can do that. Appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate you being here, man. It's been a good show, y'all. What about 2023 for Thibodeau? That's possible. They could change it. It is possible. So if you're already thinking about that, maybe others are too. Maybe start gearing up for that. Space Monkey Mafia. So, wow. Hour and 35 minutes. Had quite a few people come through the live stream. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hopefully, like I said, we got some value out of this. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to Jason Quinones, who did the super chat. Always appreciate that. Happy to answer everybody's questions, though, to vibe with you in the community. Remember, for $0.25 a weekday, you can support us in the Patreon. The link is in the description. We would love to see you there. But we love seeing you here in the comments as well. Leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your league mates about us. Now that you're 5-0, you can let them know. They need a little something to keep them going. So IDP Army, it's all love. IDP, the P is for positivity.